I want to chop it up with you guys today. It's a subject that's been heavy on my heart, and I want to share. I believe it's good to share the things that you've been through, the things that you're overcoming. And so here it goes, guys. Check it out. Abandonment wounds, okay? I don't know if how many of you guys ever been through abandonment wounds, but you find that there's so many things attached to that. And that as you become older, because usually that happens when you're a child, maybe one parent or both parents or guardian, whoever, sibling or whatever the situation may be, you grew up and they lacked emotional intelligence, or they couldn't necessarily be with you all the time because they had choices. Maybe they worked, or maybe they had other things that was more obligated, right? But as children, especially you grew up how I did, you don't necessarily have the tools, or you don't have guardians who are actually looking in to check to see that is a problem. They don't really know because they're so caught up in the rat race, or they're caught up in their lives and trying to make sure that there's a roof over their head, and it's so many things that goes in hand, right? But it truly takes for someone to observe that the child or the person has patterns of a wounded abandonment traits. But you start to see the things that comes with it. My personal experience, when I'm an adult now, and I've going back down my journey, I see that with my abandonment wounds that I had early on as a little girl, I found that there's certain things that I turned to try to fix the situation, or to figure out another way to live, okay? And still be able to be fulfilled and, things temporarily. And now that I'm an adult, I see those things face to face daily. Things like obsessions, addictions, jealousy sometimes, okay, if you're not getting that attention. And there's so many other things, but I particularly want to talk today about obsessions. Now, keep in mind, I am no doctor, psychiatrist, psychologist, like none of that shit, okay? So feel free to just chill with me and let's just have a talk. Obsession. I didn't realize the patterns that I have with my relationships, okay? Whether if it's platonic or romantic. And I find myself now to this day realizing that I'm looking to fulfill that abandonment from early young childhood, okay? And I find that I'm finding myself, you take away the person and the entity. Well, actually, let's take away the person, because the entity is there, and it's clear as day, it's obsession. But you take away the person, and you find that you're wanting to get this attention from this individual, and it starts to become toxic. You start to find yourself being into some other shit. You know what I'm saying? Like wanting to get their attention even though they've just rejected you. And finding ways to be able to get in there so that they'll see you and they'll change their mind. I don't know about you guys, but that is fucking exhausting, and it's really sad, and it makes you want to cry and just lock yourself up under a rock and never come out, Luckily, when you start to have the right support and you start to really dive into this work, you start to realize that you can really change it, the narrative, if you really put your mind to it. And so what I did personally and what I am doing is I realized early on that I can do whatever I put my mind to. And that's, I guess you could say that's 3D and 5D, because your mind, that's not something that's necessarily 3D, because you can see it though, right? And so I find that early on that I'm able to be that best basketball player if I just put my mind to it. I could be that best dancer. I can be that best singer. I can be that best whatever. And it starts there. And that's how I see it. And so with that, you take on these lessons and you take the good and the bad and you kind of cook with what you have with the ingredients. So for me, how that looks is, I know I have abandonment wounds, okay? But because it no longer serves me, because we're at the end of the road, I'm having to find a good recipe that works with me and my situation to help me break those things, those bad habits, those things that we no longer works. It just no longer works for us, okay? And so how I'm doing it is go ahead and invest into that therapist, first and foremost, because you're going to need help. You're going to need someone to help challenge you. And at this point, you don't want to get anyone else involved that is part of the problem. For, example, your parents or your family or yet romantic or platonic ships. They're not doctors, so they don't really have the answers, right? So you go to a professional so that they can give you some tools that help you exercise that daily while you're on your journey. It is crucial to identify to the root of your wounds, okay? I remember, I was sitting here writing this morning. I remember the very first romantic relationship I was involved in. And it was quick, okay? Shout out to the people who know and who done been through the shit and understand and are aware of it, okay? It was a quick one, but I was so head over heels over this person. And it quickly vanished. I used to wait by my phone. I used to go back and forth with myself. Should I send this text message? I don't want to be a pest. And really causing sickness and heartache within myself because I'm craving something that I really just wanted as a younger, a child. And so now that I am an adult, some of those patterns still follow me to this day. And I find myself back alone and having to figure these things out. Now we get more wiser the older we get when we do the work. And so, go ahead and invest into yourself. And for me, I'm making it a point to make it a lifestyle now, okay? This is not some shit that's going to happen overnight. I realize that. So now I have to make it a lifestyle to want the change so that I am able to free myself and live that happy and abundance life that I destined to have, okay? So with that, I just want to encourage you guys that you do have more control than you think. And even when you don't feel like you do, stop what you're doing, take a fucking deep ass breath, and I'm learning to find things that ground you. It may be nature for some people. It may going around your loved ones or however that looks for you. But I find myself, grounding myself. Maybe I'll do some stretching. I'll pull out my yoga mat and just kind of go into a little meditation. And there may be tears. There may be anger. There may be anything that if you need to release, please release. When you're alone, have that time with yourself. And I also do that. I become a mindful. I'm becoming a more mindful eater. Um, I'm reading a lot more books. Right now, I believe we're in a stage of information. So information is free. You just got to go out and look for it. However, you should have a base of what you're looking for, so you won't be persuaded into something that you didn't ask for. Anywho, I hope this helps. We're getting to the root of some things, and it's gonna be a journey, y'all. It is. I know that I'm able to do the 3D shit, but it's the 5D shit, the shit that hurts, the shit that's carrying the ship. I want to say 3D is the ship, but the water is the 5D. And there's so much shit that's underneath the water, the ocean, that you gotta get to the root of things so that you're able to have a smooth sail. And not that life is just gonna be smooth, but I believe when you become more wiser, things are not gonna stop happening and lessons are not gonna stop listening, right? If that's even a word. But I believe you will have something to work with rather than nothing. And so with that, we'll do our homework, we'll do our daily work, and we literally lay one brick at a time. Remove all distractions, fuck anybody who got something to say, and if they just don't understand, they just don't understand. But at this point, you are important and you matter, and that's all that matters right now. Be selfish, not selfless, selfish right now, because if you really want to say and put it into like a more in depth, you're fighting for your life. So with that, let's take it for what it is and let's be serious about our lives and let's grow the fuck up. Okay? Thank y'all for listening. I wish you a happy healing and prosperity healing. And if you have any comments, please feel free to comment. This is for anyone who needs it. And I'm realizing that I'm not an everybody person. I'm trying to learn how to accept that I'm not for everybody. But however, I do want to reach out to folks who I'm supposed to connect with, even if you're across the world. And so that's what this is about. And thank you all for listening. And take care of yourselves. Peace.